I'm Scott, and this is episode 4 of What Makes This Map Great. In this series, we take a deep dive into some classic games that hold a special place in my gaming heart. We're going to explore their amazing level design, their beautiful art, their creative combat experiences, as well as uncover their hidden secrets and see just how much they've influenced the gaming world. And in this episode, we're covering Quake E1M4, the Grisly Grotto. All sources used for this video will be linked down in the description below. Like, sub, do all the YouTube stuff. It's greatly appreciated. Let's get into it. The Grisly Grotto is the 4th level in episode 1 of Quake, called the Dimension of the Doomed. So I kind of knew what Grisly and Grotto mean, but for fun I decided to look it up to clarify things. Grisly, causing horror and disgust. Grotto, a small picturesque cave, especially an artificial one, in a park or garden. And yeah, that is the theme of this level. We are essentially diving into a cave with a giant lake, which hides some wonderful secrets below it. There's even like a beautiful dock to go fishing for rotfish. Just don't piss off the ogre patrolling it. Of course, this is all part of a dark castle located on a cliff, right on theme with this episode of Quake. To give some context of the player experience at this point of the game, they've traveled from a military tech base where mindless grunts guarded the slip gate, a machine capable of dimensional travel. The player steps through it and finds themselves in the Dimension of the Doomed, a realm that is a mixture of old haunted castles and dark underground caverns with monsters beyond our understanding. Grisly Grotto is again provided to us by level designer Tim Willits. He really does paint a beautifully crafted, picturesque map with this one, utilizing 3D brushes, of course. Again, he sets up some amazing verticality and layering in this level, pushing us out of our comfort zone with navigating deep underwater spaces. You'll also be given a new weapon, which will really spike your dopamines. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive in. All right, so right off the rip, we are once again in a castle-like setting. The large stone bricks surround us with metal trim and big wooden sorts of joints along the top. In front of us, we're presented with an angled wooden door. You don't see angled doors like this in Doom. The moment we open the door, we are welcomed by a scrag. Dodge its acid spit, and it's easy to take down. Now we are presented with a descending staircase going down this space along the wall with a lone knight patrolling below. But not so fast. We have 2 glowing red buttons on the sides of this tower-like structure. Shooting them, you lower the center island up top, revealing a secret with yellow armor. The platform also crushes the knight below. On hard mode, this is a pretty nasty secret. 2 ogres ride the platform down, and usually one of them gets a nade shot off of you that the player usually isn't ready for. Though once the platform lowers all the way, you can just nade the ogres from up high. Easy peasy. So now we've descended down the stairs, we've got the yellow armor to pick up, and some ammo. More nails, and shotgun shells. This tall space is crafted nicely. Contrasting the brown stone outside in the prior room, we have the mossy stone walls again. Up high, you can see metal rafters supporting a wood-like structure above. And these torches, they light the space up pretty nice, casting soft shadows from their metal sconces, even the shadows under the stairs. So it's really cool lighting effects for the time. The way forward is presented to us with a narrow hallway framed with metal. we proceed forward and enter what I'll call the main feature of this map. Again, using a map designer trick 101, transitioning from a small, tight, narrow space into a large open area really creates this sense of awe for the player. Wow, we really woke up the nest here. I'm gonna take a little step back. But yeah, this open area, we're presented with an earthy, rock-like cavernous space, and it's flooded with water. You can even listen to like the sound emitters in this space. The sound of like crickets and bugs dripping water makes the area feel wet. And within this like sort of a natural environment, we have some man-made structures like these fancier fire sconces. They're much bigger and longer than the earlier ones in the level. And up ahead, we even see the dock, which the ogre is furiously patrolling right now, shooting grenades at us. But first, let's deal with these scrags. We're encouraged to use our nail gun since there is nail ammo here on the mossy land we stand on. Okay, so now Tim is inviting us to go for a swim here. He even placed a biosuit right next to us here, which honestly is easy to sort of accidentally pick up while dodging the scrag's acid spit, or in this case, this ogre. When you take a dive into the water, you realize how much bigger this space is. The murky water surface is really hiding all of this underneath. We've got this man-made, well, someone made this structure, but even the air bubbles hint that there's a space underneath. It's creating a trail really for the player to swim under and enter this space. Oh, and by the way, there is a secret in the larger water space, so if we take a dive back down and kind of follow the bubbles from where we came, you can see right there, there's a small alcove which holds some rockets. All right, so back into the water, we proceed down below and follow the trail of air bubbles again. We even see an arrow with a ramp. Oh, and now I'm drowning. Another lesson, you can't hold your breath forever underwater. Nice little detail there. When you drown, little air bubbles surface up from the water. And you know what else is super cool? This underwater area also hides the super nail gun. This thing is a beast. It shoots 2 nails at a time, and Tim provides us additional ammo so we can unload it on the upcoming monsters. Let's pick it up and give it a spin on this ogre across the way. Oh yeah. We move forward, get out of the water, continue down the hall, and we're presented with some charging knights, which we unload on again. There's an ogre down the way, who goes down super easy. Okay, so let's pause for a moment, because this room is worth going into detail. Tim, again, utilizes that Designer 101 trick for mapping. He utilizes this narrow hallway into a large space trick again. To avoid sounding redundant, that'll be the last time I mention it in this video, but I'm trusting that you know that design lesson from here on out. This room shows off an impressive amount of verticality, with all sorts of visible layering happening here. We stand on a catwalk of sorts over some water. Guess what? You can take a dive and find more nails. Consider it a reward for being a brave swimmer. Looking up from the catwalk, you notice a metal T-shaped bridge. Even above that, a wooden sort of ceiling with metal trim that conceals an earthy stone ceiling. I just love these built-in structures within the natural cavern walls. Additionally, there's some lovely trim work done by Tim here. The large vertical wooden support beams along the corners of the room The trim boundaries along the top ceiling and the torches in this space just light it up with a moody setting. This place feels like it's flooded many times over the years. But back to the ground level that we stand on. It features a fort-like structure in the middle. Keep your super nail gun handy, because Tim tries to pull a sneaky one on us again. As we enter this small fort, we already woke him up, but in the middle is a pool, and an ogre rises up, ready to mow you down with his chainsaw. But with the super nails, it's super easy to take him out. Up ahead, we're provided an elevator platform, but want to be careful because there's actually 2 knights in hiding, waiting to ambush you as you approach. I like to take them out with the super shotty, save some of that nail gun ammo. But again, this is just more enemies to practice with your super nail gun. That is a map encounter design lesson of its own, in seeing these lower tiered enemies go down quickly to this new powerful weapon you just acquired. It is giving you a power fantasy. Okay, so now we take the elevator up and we get to see this upper level of this large room. We've also got some charging knights, which go down super easy with the super nail gun. And this ogre, again, that power fantasy coming in right there. So once you defeat the monsters in this encounter, you can take a short breather and look around and admire the space from above. Looking down, you can see where you came from. Maybe even consider diving into the water from up here, which is fun. So at this point, you notice that the knights and the ogre were guarding a button. Pressing it, you not only open a set of doors on the opposite side of this bridge, revealing another charging knight, but you also spawn a scrag. It's pretty easy to avoid its acid spit. You've got these wooden sort of grates here that help provide some defense for you. So the knight didn't charge across the bridge, which is unusual. So I guess we'll go in its direction. So we'll cross the bridge, and this hallway up ahead leads to an ogre encounter. Depending on your timing, you might... Oh, here's the knight. Alright, so depending on your timing entering this hallway, you might catch the ogre off guard because it's patrolling back and forth in this hallway. We did wake up another ogre though, so it's probably going to be a hot encounter. I was right, but just see how easy it is with these super nail gun shots. It's ridiculous. And we were also given more nail ammo as we entered the hallway, so you know, there's a lot of encouragement to use this gun in this map. As a side note, I do love the vaulted ceiling in this hallway. It's simple, but it's got the metal bar running along the center. It just gives a nice sense of structure and support. Moving on, this short hallway ends at these bloody double doors, and we must be getting close to the blue key. Upon opening the doors, we find ourselves back in the big underground cavern. Got the scrags guarding the blue key. There's some subtle sort of like artistic touches done in this space. When you look at these stone sort of pillars, it's very simple geometric shapes because we were limited on how many polygons could be rendered in a 3D engine back in 95, 96. But the way they're angled subtly frames the blue key, leading you forward to go pick it up. We pick up the blue key, and you'll notice straight ahead from the key, there's some subtle lighting hinting our way forward from the front of the dock. We could have taken this approach earlier, but that would have led to the blue door pretty early without the key. I keep calling it a blue door. It's the silver door. Silver key, silver door. But then we would have had to backtrack back into this watery space and take the path that we decided to take first. But anyhow, it's just showing that there's different approaches, different ways to approach these maps. Blue key in hand, we continue forward with a quick swim. Straight ahead, and we surface to find ourselves at the foot of a large castle and several charging knights. Man, the visual storytelling that I'm imagining here. This castle may have been a bit larger, but the surrounding rock collapsed a portion of it underwater. After traversing through that space, we now enter the proper castle with a bridge that gives us access to an upper passage through these mountainous sort of rock-like area. Okay, gonna grab these nails and let's continue. We open the door with the silver key. A knight greets us, which we mow down, only to find an ogre to the right. And that ogre was standing right by this switch here at the end of this T intersection. You know, when you first enter, I don't know, a very narrow focused player could miss this opportunity, but this button hides a yellow armor behind the demon wall fixture there. Another thing I want to point out too is that unlike the other areas that we were just at, you might notice that the stone brickwork here is dry. Again, my imagined story that I shared with you all, I think this is totally deliberate by Tim. So we rush down the hall to grab the yellow armor, and we alert an ogre at the bottom of these stairs. Took a nade to the face, but I'm okay. No big deal. Before we head down to this room, let's take a moment to break it down. The lighting here is dark and dreary. We are presented with a bridge that is flanked by two sickly green acid pools. There are metal fire sconces that come out of the acid pools, which flank the lift ahead and cast some unusual shadows across the space. So we enter the room and we take out the scrags with these. I'm out of nails. Shoot. Tim, with his sneaky ways again, uses this bridge as an ambush. Before you cross it, you can hear the sound of nearby ogres. Looking at the side walls, you notice some metal panels that break the tiling stone brick walls. On the bridge, there are two hot light spots that give the trap trigger away. When you cross them, those metal panels open up to reveal ogres, and they are happy to toss nades in your direction. This puts your mobility to the test. If you sidestep carefully along the bridge while shooting at the ogres, you can avoid taking damage. Though, if you're not versed in steady strafing, it's easy to not only catch nades with your face, but to also accidentally fall into the acid pools. Whew. So after that, we can now approach this lift at the end of the bridge and ride it up. The castle is on alert at this point though, as there are knights waiting to cut you up as you rise on that elevator. Haha. The super nail gun is pivotal throughout this map, but at this point you're probably running low on nail gun ammo, so you rely back on your super shotgun and your grenades. Now, this upper floor introduces us to a new trap. Tim has made an effort to include at least one new trap setup with each level. You'll notice some wooden panels on the floor with the Quake symbol, and along two of the walls what appears to be spike dispensers. We've seen this visual language in prior maps. It's easy to forget that when you've played this game 100 times, but I can remember my first time clumsily running through this room and stepping on the wooden tiles, triggering the spike traps and just getting destroyed by them. At this point too, I was super low on health from that ogre encounter down in the acid pool room. And yeah, it's GG, reload my game. So anyhow, we're gonna step on these one at a time. Each time you step on them, triggers the nails, and there you get a text message saying there are more. Only 3 more to go. 2 more to go. This one you just got to be careful. 1 more to go. Sequence complete. And upon triggering all of them, you complete the sequence and reveal 2 hidden alcoves to the side of this room. So pick either one. You walk in and take a peek down and drop down. And you'll notice that you are now in those secret ogre cubby holes above the acid pools. And you'll also notice that there's a button on the wall. So pressing it, only 1 more to go. We'll go back up the elevator, drop down the other hole. A secret cave has been opened. Now, before we look for that secret cave, let's continue forward in this level. We need to make sure to clear it of all the monsters. So we go up the elevator, we enter that spike trap room again, and opposite end from the lift, we find a staircase with a knight guarding it up top. These guys think they got the jump on me, but my super nail gun thinks differently. We are provided some more nail gun ammo, thanks Tim, and a set of doors. This devil engraving at the top sort of hints that we're about to have a dangerous encounter up ahead. So opening the door, a knight charges us, but an ogre also comes out from the left. I like to take the ogre out first, because he's closer and I think they're more dangerous, followed by taking out the knight. So traversing along the sides, you've got a health pickup, some shells. Man, this bridge area is so cool. We have that purple sky scrolling above us. These large stone walls that are sort of facing off against this tall castle structure opposite of it. The sound of torches burning and wind blowing through this bridge, it's very immersive. So crossing this bridge, we trigger one final trap. 2 scrags spawn right behind us over this bridge. Nice try, Tim. And for the final combat encounter, we are provided a tight stone staircase that leads up to the exit. A torch sconce invites us to come up, but an ogre waits to ambush us, guarding the way out of this Grisly Grotto. This close encounter could be dangerous with slower action weapons. Unfortunately, I'm out of nails. They would have handled this very quickly and easily, so today I'm going to do it with a shotgun and a nade. Now hold on. Instead of taking this exit, remember that secret cave message that we got earlier. Yeah, let's backtrack a bit. We can make a quick drop from this bridge down into the water pool below here. Ow, my legs. So we submerge, and if you took the time to explore this underwater space earlier, you may notice a new light source on the back right side here. We swim towards it and discover a a small alcove hiding a hidden teleporter and a grenade launcher. Notice that this teleporter looks different from the square ones that we've been encountering, and it stands on a runic platform. We step through, and we're given our tally screen. We see this cool room setup here with this immense verticality and layering. It's really neat. Also, you might notice that we are short one monster kill, which I'll cover in our trivia section coming up here in just a minute. We leave the Grisly Grotto, but not through the traditional exit, but through a secret cave portal that takes us to E1M4 Ziggurat Vertigo, the secret level for episode 1, which we'll definitely cover in a separate video. So here's the part where I go over some quick trivia for our featured map. This map was originally referred to as Tim 5 during development, potentially indicating that this was the 5th map that Tim Willits worked on for Quake. You may have noticed I was short on max kills. Well, that's because it's a known bug for this map. There's a monster spawner trigger that works in a very specific way, and if it's not triggered in that particular way, well, it's gonna leave an unspawned ogre off the side of the map. And how do you get that monster to spawn? Well, you actually need to go touch the silver door first before you go and grab the silver key. Doing it in that order will spawn the ogre. This map houses the first secret level exit in the game. I think it's great that they made the secret level a map by another designer, American McGee, as it is a significant contrast from Tim Willits' work on most of episode 1's core levels up to this point. This map is featured as the second demo that gets played when you first load up Quake. I'm sure that the team didn't want to spoil what comes after episode 1, especially when you consider that the shareware version only includes episode 1. That said, I'm sure Tim Willits felt real good knowing his levels were featured in 2 out of the 3 demos that played in the intro to Quake. So, what makes E1M4 a great map? Let's start by going back to a design pillar from John Romero in regards to making Quake maps. If you can make your map in Doom, then it's a failed Quake map. Tim has been smashing this design pillar with each of his maps so far in episode 1. The biggest feature for Grisly Grotto is really its giant underground cavern. It features a deep lake with underwater structures, but also some rock-like features and a dock to top it off. And I can't stress enough how much verticality there is in this map. Besides the deep underground lake that you can freely swim through in a full 3D sort of environment, you also have giant bridge spaces that overlook areas that you traversed earlier. Those same spaces, upon entering them from the lower levels, they strike the player with awe when they take a moment to just look up from that bottom viewpoint. The brushwork on this level is done beautifully, really nailing the visuals of a castle built within mountainous walls with hidden secrets submerged underground and underwater. And then the monster encounters. While most players will take care of the scrags immediately before entering the underground lake, it's a bit frightening to see a scrag enter the water with you as it flies and traverses in a believable way within that 3D space. There's also some nasty ogre setups which allows them to nade the player from up high while avoiding immediate dangers like acid pools or charging knights. But the greatest moment, in my opinion, is when you acquire the super nail gun. You are given plenty of opportunities to fire that thing, with plenty of nail gun ammo scattered about the level to keep you pumping nails into monsters that come in your way. It's a true weapon of destruction, though at the cost of consuming ammo quickly. Though there's a few more weapons still left in the arsenal for Quake, so eventually we'll get to those. Again, another banger map from Tim. He does a great job of not only introducing the player to new gameplay experiences, but also to prepare the player for what Quake has in store for them. What are your thoughts on E1M4, the Grisly Grotto? Is there anything I missed? Were you able to find the secret exit the first time that you played through this map? Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, share it with friends, and subscribe for more great gaming content. And if you're looking for more, check out this recommended video right here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.